Coming up, 24 are now dead after this week's historic flash flooding.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The death toll keeps rising as crews continue to rescue folks and get to areas devastated by this week's historic flash flooding. Earlier today, President Biden approved a federal disaster declaration for 13 counties. Breathitt County is one of the worst hit areas. Families have been rescued there throughout the day. That's on top of a concern in the city of Jackson over the Panbowl Lake Dam. Grayson Passmore is in Breathitt County tonight.
You can't get to any of these addresses because what's happening is you come in, you have to go over the railroad tracks, and then you've got to walk three miles.
Lake Branch.
But there is some that's 11 feet deep in water.
A crowd gathers at the end of Town Hill Road as rescuers go out.
That's our family up there.
And some come in looking for help themselves.
Stray Branch Road and Noble Road, and all of these we've got. The problem is this won't fly over the railroad tracks, and then the roads don't come to. Or I'd hike in 2-3 miles. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
But there's no.
But as this rescuer from North Carolina quickly learns,
or I have to carry this over, and you can't carry this over nothing. Not over.
Some routes are now impassable.
Come in from
And they're.
Yeah.
Did they come at the Robson?
They said they've got water in their house, and we've got to find a way to rescue, but I can't figure it out.
People familiar with the area quickly jump in to help.
Once you get up there, there's the hill. When it floods, it washes out.
Mapping out potential routes, citing the dangers that come with these high waters.
But if you've got anything for snake bites, we got somebody down there that their dog got bit.
Before heading out to find people stranded in flooded homes.
You know, start it right now, and we're gonna get out of here and do some rescues.
Take care of yourself.
Grayson Passmore reporting. Now, Kentucky 15 at Panbowl Lake Dam is still closed, so a very important traffic alert if you're heading north, say from Hazard. If you want to go to Lexington, you won't be able to get through 15 at Panbowl Lake Dam. It's still closed, but transportation officials say they will reevaluate that situation in the morning. Among those rescued in Breathitt County, actually on live television on WKYT, was former WYMT weatherman Jeff Noble. He was our evening forecaster in the late 1980s and early 90s. Some Good Samaritans helped bring him to safety after family members had not heard from him. Noble lives along the river, and we are certainly glad he is doing okay there, as you can see him being slowly brought out of that flooded area. Well, by our count and information we've received from the governor's office, the death toll now stands at 24 in eastern Kentucky. 14 of those are in Knott County, 3 in Breathitt, 3 in Perry, and 2 each in Clay and Letcher counties. Unfortunately, that number has grown all day, and officials fear it will go even higher. At least 6 of the dead, according to the governor's office, are children. We are now approaching the same number of people who died in the March 2nd, 2012 tornado outbreak. Several communities in Perry County suffered severe flood damage. In the Lost Creek community off Highway 15, multiple homes were washed off their foundations. Garvey Collins says he lost his home, and so did his sister and his cousin. He said he's thankful they all made it out alive, including their cat Fluffy.
Me and my family, we've been talking, we ain't decided on, really what we're going to do yet, And we're standing up at Uncle's church up there and trying to get back on our feet and take care of each other.
Damage can be seen all along Highway 15 from Hazard to Jackson. Semi-trucks and school buses were slammed into the Western Branch Diesel building, including at least one Perry County school bus. Gosh, look at that damage there. Superintendent Jonathan Jett says 2 Perry County schools have suffered extensive damage just weeks before the start of school. Support is pouring in from across Kentucky. A group from Life Christian Center Church in Madisonville donated a truckload of supplies to the Hazard Flea Market's drop-off center. The group's leader says the supplies were left over from their outreach during the Western Kentucky tornadoes several months ago.
This was leftover tornado relief from the December tornado we had in our home county, and several church members got together this morning, helped load up the trailer. My boss, Ryan Cope, donated the trailer to send over here with us, and we was able to just take some leftover tornado relief supplies and send them over here.
Organizers say you do not have to be from Perry County to pick up these donations. Several National Guard groups are working to help with rescues in eastern Kentucky. The Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia National Guard units were all at the London Corbin Airport today providing disaster relief. You can see multiple aircraft staging there at the airport as soldiers help with rescues and other missions. Some communities in Clay County are cut off from first responders due to the flooding, mudslides, and other debris. 2 people have died in Clay County, including 73-year-old Walter Hinkle. Judge Executive Jimmy Johnson says 27 people once missing in the Oneida community are now accounted for. That's certainly some good news. Now he believes there is millions of dollars worth of damage to the county's infrastructure. Emergency Manager David Watson estimates around 100 buildings have been affected or destroyed, but says that's likely a low estimate. In times like this, we know Eastern Kentuckians are always the first to lend a helping hand. Here at WYMT, we are teaming up with the Foundation for Appalachian Kentucky Crisis Fund and the Appalachian Regional Healthcare Foundation Flood Relief Fund for the Appalachia Rises Flood Relief Campaign. You can visit WYMT.com to donate to the local relief efforts. 2 well-known Kentuckians are giving back to the mountains. Joe Kraft, a Hazard native, and his wife, former UN Ambassador Kelly Knight Kraft, will match every dollar we raise for the Foundation for Appalachian Kentucky Crisis Fund up to $1 million.
Well, the forecast tonight, we're continuing with our severe weather alert day coverage, but things are starting to wind down just a little bit. Thankfully, the flood watch was allowed to expire at 10 o'clock across the region. Now, what you're seeing out there is a few showers, but again, nothing significant. I'm going to zoom you in on the areas that we're still watching tonight, areas where you're seeing just a little bit of red or yellow. Most of that is ground clutter out there, but one little cell over into parts of Leslie County, getting close to Hyden. It's actually probably closer to Stinnett down that way. One in South Perry County, one in the northern parts of Letcher County, and then the rest are over into parts of Southwest Virginia, actually moving out of Southwest Virginia at this hour. So that's some good news. Fog is forming. That is what you're seeing on that radar, that ground clutter there. So we're drying out slowly but surely. It's going to be a foggy overnight. I-64 near Moorhead, not too bad up there right now, not too much traffic either. So slowing down across the region. Buffalo Mountain here in Perry County looking okay this evening. Temperatures out there in the 60s and 70s. We're going to see 68 in Clipwood, 66 in Wise. Hazard, the only sensor offline right now, 69 in Pikeville, 75 in London and Somerset, and it is also pretty muggy out there as well. Anything above 65, again, under comfortable out there. We got everybody just above that. So for the rest of the evening, things are going to turn drier as we head into the overnight hours. We might even see the sky start to clear at times. We saw some sunshine earlier today, and then we'll see temperatures drop potentially into the mid-60s by tomorrow morning. Steve?
Brandon, thank you. We had the chance to catch up with Judge Executive Jeff Dobson today in Knott County while he was assisting with cleanup and surveying the damage. WYMT's Olivia Calfee talked to him about the emotional toll many in our communities are dealing with tonight.
Staying strong is not always easy. But Knott County's Judge Executive Jeff Dobson says there's always someone out there who has it worse.
You know, we want to stay strong for them, do what we can for them to build back, and we're going to build back together and build back stronger and do what we can to be there for our people.
Floodwater destroyed Dobson's house. It's currently unlivable. But he says that his family can build back. So right now, he wants to be there for his people.
You feel like breaking down, and you just feel like giving up, but We have to stay strong for our people, for our county, and be there for them at the time of need.
While cleanup is underway, it's the realization of lives lost that impacts Dobson the most.
Material things can be rebuilt, but the devastation of losing lives, it's heartbreaking.
But somehow he knows
You just want to sit down and cry, and it's difficult.
he must keep it together for his community. In Knott County, Olivia Calfee, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, as we've mentioned, multiple people have died just in Knott County, including children after the flooding there. Folks continue to look for their loved ones and their belongings. Neighbors say parents tried to hold on to their kids the night of the flood, throwing rope, attempting to save their loved ones from the rushing water.
There was a house there and this trailer with this family of 6, and it just washed them away.
The flood destroyed hundreds of homes, we're told, just in Hindman alone. It left the entire downtown covered in water. Some people have lived in this area for a long time and say it's the worst flood they have ever seen. There is plenty of devastation in Letcher County communities. People have been in shock looking at their damaged homes and businesses. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox talked to one local business owner in Whitesburg.
Sexton's Used Cars has been a place for people in Whitesburg to buy vehicles for 40 years. Now the cars have been displaced and damaged by the floodwater.
That Cooper was in front of the tow truck. So the cars, the water was so high, it was just floating the cars around. And
the Mini Coupe that Debbie is referring to was a gift from her husband 2 years ago, right before he died. It celebrated all of the years of building their business together, and now is filled with mud.
Last car my husband bought me before he passed away, I had it here.
Debbie says all the cars were submerged for hours. Their black Impala was moved more than 50 feet while underwater.
We didn't know where it was. And then when the water started receding, we could see the top of it. And then finally it went down enough for us to get it pushed out of the road.
Debbie said they are still looking for cars that washed away and worry that they might never be able to recover. In Letcher County, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
If you're in that area and would like to help those who need supplies, you can donate at Letcher County Central High School or Kane Kitchen in Whitesburg. Folks in Floyd County have begun recovering from the historic flooding in many communities. In Garrett, following floodwaters that were several feet deep, many homes and businesses on Front Street and Magnolia Street were severely damaged. Catherine Isaac, who lives in the nearby city of Martin, said that this was the worst she had seen in the Garrett community and encouraged folks to do all they can do to help their neighbors.
It's just like we've been whipped here, we've been whipped, and it's going to take, like I said, it's going to take everybody pulling together and outsiders to come in and help us.
Along with cleanup efforts, folks with the Garrett Volunteer Fire Department and Garrett First Baptist Church immediately began distributing bottled water and hot meals to those affected by the flooding. People in the hard-hit Pike County communities are working to clean up, discussing how to move forward after so much loss. But for one couple, the loss is nothing compared to their lives. James and Rita Bartley got home late Wednesday night, waiting out the storm in their car since James requires a wheelchair to get inside. They fell asleep and woke up to a car surrounded by floodwater. Unable to get James herself, Rita stayed and called for help, which she received when her neighbor waded through the waters to get them to safety.
I feel that he was just a guardian angel to us. There's a lot of people, I can't thank him enough, because there's a lot of people that would not have risked their lives to have done that.
She called, he jumped up out of bed and came straight over here. Waded water to his feet.
Bartley says her entire community truly comes together during times like these, and she feels blessed that her car and some personal items were the only things the waters took from her that night. Wolfe County is stepping up, providing shelter for folks evacuating from Breathitt County. The Wolfe County school districts are helping people impacted by the floods. Campton Elementary in particular is functioning as a shelter. Kenny Bell, the superintendent, says they may be rivals with other counties, but natural disasters like this one unite them.
You know, the Breathitt County and other counties around us, they may be rivals in football and basketball and sports and all this, but when something like this happens, they're our neighbors and we're going to help them.
Now, the Wolfe County School District is accepting monetary donations through its main office. KEDC is asking for bottled water, non-perishable food items, and cleaning supplies. Well, around 18,000 customers are still without power. A majority of those outages are in Breathitt, Leslie, Knott, Letcher, and Perry counties. Crews are having trouble getting into some of these areas that need restoration because of mudslides and washed out roads. They are getting help from out-of-state crews with those efforts, and much of Perry County is also without water. Sunday Best is using its concert to collect donations to help flood victims across Kentucky. That concert is being held tomorrow at 7 p.m. at the Mountain Arts Center in Prestonsburg. In a recent post by Sunday Best, they said they are accepting cleaning and water supplies to show their support. We'll be right back with a look at the forecast.